Unit 1, Diversity in the Living World. Diversity means how different the living world is. Living world means the world which is consists of the living organisms. So as you all know, the biology is the study of life forms and the different processes which occur inside these living organisms, like the digestion, respiration, likewise. Okay, so the living world, it comprises of amazing diversity of living organisms. So the living organisms, it is very much diverse, diversified, from a very tiny ant to a huge elephant. We can see so much of diversification. So even from physiologically, internally also, we can see a unicellular organism like the amoeba and or any bacteria, and from there to the highly evolved organisms like the human beings. So we can see so much of variation, so much of diversity in the living organism. The early man, he could make difference between the inanimate matter and animate matter. Inanimate matter and animate matter. Inanimate matter in the sense the matter which is non-living. Non-living like the wind, sea and fire. And he could perceive the difference between this living matter and non-living matter. So you must have heard about the Stone Age, the Paleolithic Age, Mesolithic Age, Neolithic Age. The human being, he has used the living thing, non-living things like the stone. Okay, that fire. You must have heard, like he has rubbed the two stones and has created the fire. Okay, even we as a childhood, in our childhood as kids, we must have played with the stones, and you can see the sparkle of fire with the, just splash of this fire could be found when you rub two stones together. Okay, so he could understand that non-living things and living things, other living things along with it, means other living things he has hunted. So you must be knowing that he has hunted. He was the early man was a hunter and a gatherer. So in this way he could relate the relation between the living things and non-living things, which he called it as inanimate matter and animate matter. And later on, after the Stone Age, the different civilizations, when they have evolved, like you must have heard about the Indus Valley civilization, Mesopotamian civilization. These civilizations, through these civilizations only, we could understand that what the early man, the early human beings, what they have done, how they have evolved. But the information which we gathered because of these human civilizations is very much limited even till today. Okay, and but the information which we got from monuments, like the information which is written on the walls, on different hard structures, which is engraved on hard structures, which we call as monumental description, is much more elaborate in comparison to the information which we have got through the different excavations done by different societies, like the famous one, the Archaeological Survey of India. Okay, so you must have heard the different the Indus Valley civilization or the Harappan civilization. Okay, so still the excavation is going on and we have not deciphered, we have not understood the Indus Valley civilization language even today. So the information is very much limited in comparison to the information which we have got from the monumental descriptions or the systematic descriptions, means other form of descriptions. Okay, so that is what it is. So in this due course of time, on knowing about different information about the evolution of man and different organisms, it was found that the each organism was interlinked to the next or the other organism in some or the other way. It is not that we are completely unrelated to the other organisms completely. No, it is not so. We are related to other living organisms in some or the other way. So we show similarities with the other organisms. It can be horizontally or vertically. Horizontally means within the same lineage. For example, the gorillas, gibbons or monkeys, human beings. This is the horizontal relation. Okay, we are very much related to each other. Vertically means, like for example, from fish to birds, then amphibians to the human beings. We are related and we have evolved slowly. We are not completely unrelated. We are related to each other in some or the other form, internally or externally. We are related to each other, and this is the biggest discovery in the human evolution. And this has led to that, since we are related to each other, so there is a responsibility on the human beings to conserve the biodiversity, the nature, because we are interdependent on each other. Each organism is dependent on each other, so hence we are supposed to conserve the biodiversity. That is our main prerequisite, the main necessity of present day. Okay, so moving on. So Ernst Mayr, he is one of the greatest scientists. See, he was one of the 100 greatest scientists of all the time, and he is known as the Ernst Mayr. He is known as the Darwin of the 20th century, and he is given the title of Alexander Agassiz Professor of Zoology Emeritus. And he has been given 3 prizes, which we call it as Triple Crown of Biology. Triple Crown of Biology. One is the Balzan Prize in 1983, the International Prize for Biology in 1994, and Crafoord Prize in 1999. One more important thing is he has given the definition of biological species. Biological species are nothing but if two species are able to interbreed and produce an offspring, we call such species as biological species. Okay, so if they can interbreed, we call them as biological species. Ernst Mayr, he has given the definition of biological species. Okay, please do remember he is known as the Darwin of the 20th century. This is the most important thing. Chapter 1, the living world. So the living world is very much wonderful and amazing, and we can see the existence of living organisms in different climatic conditions, like the hot mountains to the hot springs. From a very cold regions to a very hot springs, we can see different living organisms in different weather conditions. Okay, you can see the polar bear here. In hot springs, you can see the archaebacteria or any other living organisms which can strive under extreme climatic conditions. The deciduous forests, oceans. Under oceans, you can see many marine fishes, or the different types of fishes we can see. Freshwater lakes, deserts. Deserts also, you can see the existence of many desert animals like the camel is the famous one. Okay, so you can see the existence of different living organisms in these different habitats. You can see the migratory birds. See, sometimes you can see the migratory birds. They migrate from one location to another for their breed, to complete their breeding season, or to complete their life cycle, for to complete their sexual cycle. We call it as circadian rhythm sometimes. Okay, we can see. So the hence the living world is very much diversified, and it's very amazing and beautiful. So the ecological conflict and cooperation means, the conflict means differences, at the same time cooperation between the members of a population. Okay, and among the population of a community, at the community level or at the molecular level inside a cell, can reflect, will make us think what exactly is life. So this question has two angles. One is technical one, which is scientific, what exactly, how the life forms, how do they exist scientifically. Another one is philosophical, means what is the purpose of this life. So hence now we are dealing with science. We'll be talking about the technical part of it. We'll know how the living organisms, how they have evolved, what are the differences in their cell structure, different forms, all these things. The technical part of the life we'll be dealing in this chapters, in the coming topics. Okay, diversity in the living world. So the living world, the description of many species. Till today, they are about 1.7 to 1.8 million known species have been described. Okay, these many are the species which have been known and described, and this refers to the biodiversity. Biodiversity, or the number and the types of organisms present on the earth. So because there are huge number of living organisms on the planet, and in each location they are known by different names, it is very difficult, it becomes very difficult to recognize it individually. So it is very difficult to name them. So at different locations they are known by different local names. For example, your favorite food pani puri, this pani puri is known by different names in different states. We call it as pani puri at one place, puchka in one place, golgappa at one state. Okay, by different names. Likewise, these living organisms are also known by different names in different states. So it creates a sense of confusion among the living population. So in order to reduce the confusion, or to remove the confusion, so the scientists all over the world, they have created something, they have standardized, they have given a standard name to every organism by some rules and regulations. Okay, we shall see what are the rules which have been laid for naming the living organism all over the world. Okay, so because the number of known living organism is very huge, it is about 1.7 to 1.8 million organisms, there exists a very big confusion. So to reduce it and to give a standardized name to all these living organisms, the scientific world has decided to follow a particular uh, scheme of naming the living organisms. So for plants, the International Code for Botanical Nomenclature, they will name all the plants, and for animals it is International Code of Zoological Nomenclature. They will name these these organisms. Okay, and there will be only one accepted scientific name. So let us see what is the procedure. According to it, the system we call it as binomial nomenclature. Bi means two, nomial means name. So the living organism will have two words, they will be named by two words. So one is, the first one we call it as generic name, and the second one is specific epithet or species name, and this procedure was given by Carolus Linnaeus. Remember this name, Carolus Linnaeus has given the binomial nomenclature. The procedure of giving names to living organisms by two words, we call it as binomial nomenclature given by Linnaeus. Okay, and it has got the following rules and regulations for naming the living organism. So let us see what are the rules. So the biological names are generally in Latin and they are written in italics. So whatever be the origin of the biological name, so they are ultimately they are derived from Latin irrespective of their origin. Okay, they are Latinized and they are written in italics. The first word reflects the genus name and the second word it reflects the species name. Okay, and if they are handwritten, they have to be underlined separately. They should be underlined separately, or if not, it should be printed in italics. And the genus name, it should start with a capital letter. Species name should start with a small letter. For example, Mangifera indica, here the genus name is Mangifera and the species name is indica, and at the end of the name the scientist who has published it will be given. Here Linnaeus, he is the first person who described the Mangifera indica. Hence, we write the complete name as Mangifera indica Linn. So, this is the way we represent the scientific name of a plant. Okay. So, nomenclature. So, as we told earlier that they are huge. They are about 1.7 to 1.8 million organisms, and amongst them we have many plants. So it is very much essential to classify the organisms in order to make it easy for us to identify it easily. So classification is the process by which anything is grouped into different categories based on easily observable characters. So if we classify the organism, it becomes very easy for us to segregate, to know that yes, this organism belongs to this category and this belongs to this category. So in order to make it easy for us to understand, so the organisms have been classified. Okay, so they have been classified into different categories, and these categories we call it as taxa. Taxa is the technical words for different categories. Do remember. And all these categories can be classified into different taxa, and this process of classification we call it as taxonomy. It is based on the external and internal structure, the structure of a cell, and development process and ecological information. Okay, how the external and internal structure, how do they look internally and externally, and structure of a cell, whether it is prokaryote or eukaryote, development process, how do they develop, ecological information, are they autotrophic, heterotrophic, what are they. So all these things put together, they contribute to the modern taxonomic studies. Okay, so the basic components of taxonomy is characterization. You will characterize a particular living organism, identify it based on the observable characters. You will identify the particular organism as this and classify them into different categories or taxon. Okay, different categories or taxon, and name it. Naming is, we call it as nomenclature. All these put together, they form one branch, we call it as taxonomy. Okay, and this taxonomy is not a new branch. Earlier, the earliest man has classified the living organisms based on the use. Okay, he has segregated the things into different categories based on the use. This particular organism is of use to me. and the other one is not of any use to me. For example, there is a plant, there is a medicinal plant. For example, if you consider neem is of the greatest value to the humankind. So neem plant is useful, whereas there must be some other poisonous plant, so it is of no use. So based on the use, the earliest classification was done. So along with this taxonomy, there exists another branch which we call it as systematics, which takes into account the relationship among the living organisms. Okay, the word systematic is derived from the Latin word systema, meaning systematic arrangement of organism. It was given by Linnaeus and he has used it in his book known as Systema Naturae. So this systematic includes identification, nomenclature and classification. So these three components, they form the taxonomy. So taxonomy plus evolutionary relationship, it forms the systematics. Systematics takes into account the evolutionary relationship, how the organisms are evolutionarily related to each other. So coming to the taxonomic categories, means different categories, different ranks based on which each organism is segregated, classified, for making us easily, for us to understand the things easily. Okay, so here each rank is known as category or taxon. Okay, each rank is known as, it is a category, or technically we call it as taxon. Commonly we call it as rank, but technically we refer to it as taxon, and plural form is taxa. You need to remember this. Taxon is nothing but the rank. It is the rank. And since the category is a part of overall taxonomic arrangement, it is called as taxonomic category, and all the ranks put together we call it as taxonomic hierarchy. Hierarchy means from the lower level to higher level we are giving the ranks, so we call it as taxonomic hierarchy. Okay, based on different ranks we have given the ranking from the lowest basic thing to the highest form. Let us see what are these ranks. So based on similarities and dissimilarities we have given the ranks. The species is the lowest and the basic category, basic rank. So species, it consists of a group of individuals with the fundamental similarities. They have been identified with some morphological similarities and morphological differences. For example, if you consider Mangifera indica, Solanum tuberosum and Panthera leo, all three names in this, the first name, the indica, tuberosum and leo, they represent the species name, and the first name, it represents the genus name. So each, the species is the basic rank or basic taxon, genus is higher taxon. Okay, next is a group of species are placed under one taxon, we call it as genus. It is the genus. For example, Panthera leo, Panthera pardus and Panthera tigris, they belong to the same genus and different species. So they come under the genus Panthera. They are different from the other genus, that is Felis, which includes the cats. So all the genes are present, are segregated, are placed under one category, that is family. Okay, for example, if you take Panthera, which consists of lion, tiger, leopard, which is placed under one family, that is Felidae. Okay, whereas you have the another category known as the dog, it is placed under family Canidae. Okay, so all the genus put together, it is placed under one taxon, which we call it as family. Next you have orders. All the families are grouped under one taxon, which we call it as order. For example, the family Convoluaceae and Solanaceae are placed under the order Polymoneales. Likewise, Carnivora is placed under the family. It consists of the family like Felidae and Canidae. The order Carnivora includes families like the Felidae and Canidae. Okay, next, all the families are included under, all the orders are included under one class. For example, the order Primata includes the class monkey, gorilla and gibbon, okay, which comes under the class Mammalia. This Mammalia also has other orders like the Carnivora. And you have all the classes are placed under one phylum, and it constitutes the one of the biggest category. We use phylum for the animals and divisions for the plants. Okay, so the largest taxon is kingdom. So all the animals are placed under the kingdom Animalia, and all the plants are placed under the kingdom Plantae. Okay, this is the largest category. It is the highest category. If you see from base to the higher level, the species is the basic taxon. Genus, a group of species are placed under the genus, and a group of genus are placed under one family. All the families put together are placed under one order, and this order is placed under one class. All the classes are placed under one phylum. It is, if it is animal, and if it is plant, they are placed under one division. All the divisions or the phylums are placed under one kingdom. Okay, if it is plant, kingdom Plantae. If it is animal, kingdom Animalia, which forms the highest taxon in the hierarchy. Okay, this is the sequence. As we move from the lower level to the higher level, so you can see the decrease in the similarity. The dissimilarities will increase from the lower level to the higher level. Okay, the similarities will decrease and the dissimilarities will increase. You need to remember it. So this table is very important. You need to remember this. This is very important table. So as we know, the common name is man. Man's biological name is Homo sapiens. Homo sapiens.